so last lesson we did GCF of how to find it of numbers and variables. Today we're putting that all together. Number one says find two numbers that multiply to be 12. Two numbers that multiply to be 12 and add to be positive 7. What are our factors of 12? I always start with 1 just because that's easy. 1 times what gives me 12? And then 2 times, 3 times. Okay, so those are all factors of 12, right? We also have negatives that are factors of 12. So that would be negative 1 times negative 12, negative 2 times negative 6, and negative 3 times negative 4. Does that make sense? We're just taking the positives and the negatives. Alright, so those are all the numbers that multiply to be 12. I'm going to cross out anything that does not add to be positive 7. What about 1 and 12? Nope. 2 and 6? 3 and 4? That works. Negative 1, negative 12, that won't work, and that adds to be negative 7. So the two factors that work here are positive 3 and positive 4. This part is very important for tonight. Alright, number 2 says find two numbers that multiply to be 12 and add to be negative 7. I'm going to do this, you don't have to, but we have 1 and 12. I'm just going to copy exactly what I have over there. 2 and 6, 3 and 4, negative 1, negative 12, negative 2, negative 6, and then negative 3, negative 4. So all of those are factors of 12, because that's what we just did. Which ones add to be negative 7? Negative 2, negative 6, negative 3, negative 4. All of these don't work. If I add them, I don't get negative 7. So what I need is negative 3, negative 4. Can you see okay over there? Find two numbers that multiply to be negative 12 and add to be positive 1. So my factors stay the same, it's just my negatives change. So let's go through negative 1, positive 12, negative 2, positive 6, negative 3, positive 4. Because only one needs a negative for to equal negative 12. Then I do the opposites. 1, negative 12, positive 2, negative 6, 3, negative 4. Those are all factors of negative 12. Which one of these adds to be positive 1? You know, it can't be negative 1 plus 12. Negative 2 plus 6 doesn't work. Negative 3, 4. That gives me, yep, that gives me positive 1. That doesn't work, that doesn't work. And if I add those, I get negative 1. So my answer is negative 3, positive 4. Nope. Always have 1. And for number 4, our factors will be the same as they over here because it says multiply to be negative 12, but this time I need adds to be negative 1. Which one of these answers adds to be negative 1? These factors. 3 and negative 4. I'm just going to draw an arrow there so I know we're using those factors. Does that make sense? Alright, that's a part of what we're doing today. Likewise, you're good? Alright, remember, factoring is the opposite of distributing. Factoring is the opposite of distributing. The purpose is to put expressions into factors. We do so by using parentheses. How do you spell parentheses here? All right, everything in this big box, the big box here, we're going to do all of these steps for the rest of the day. So, to factor by grouping, which is what we're doing, you factor out the GCF. Remember to keep it in front. Bring down the first term and the last term. Number 3, it says make a T-chart to find the factors that multiply to be A and C and add to be the middle term, which is B. Okay. Replace the middle term with the pair you have chosen. Draw boxes around the first 2 terms. I don't really do that, but we'll get there. GCF, the common factor, we check by multiplying. All right, number 1. Blow this up a little bit. Yeah.
On the bottom says in the polynomials are able to be factored and then use
Prime. Oh, it says that. Did I miss that one? Is it not on here? Okay, so the last, whatever it says, it should be prime. Thank you. All right, number 1. We have x squared plus 7x plus 10. What we're going to do is we're going to imagine that there's a 1 here. Okay, so imagine it says 1x squared plus 7x plus 10. Whatever's in front of my x squared, I am going to swing it. Make sure you follow these step by step as I do it. If I have 3 terms, which I do, I have x squared, 7x, and 10, I can't combine those, so they're all different terms. I have a in the middle and m on the third number. This is my AM method. Off to the side, doesn't have to be big, make a T-chart. Your T-chart is going to be MA, so it's basically opposite, AM, MA. The A stands for add, the M stands for multiply. Looking at my numbers, I need 2 things that multiply. I already swung. Whatever gets swung here, you have to multiply. So what's 1 times 10? 10. And what number is under my A? 7. So this tells me I need 2 numbers that multiply to give me 10 and add to give me 7. Well, let's see here. I know 10 and 1, but that doesn't add to give me 7, right? What about 2 and 5? Yep, both positive, right? Positive 2 times positive 5 gives me 10. If I add them, I get 7. So those are my factors. All right, from here, pay attention. I'm going to pull down my first term. My first term is x squared. If you want to write 1x squared, you can. But you'll get into the habit of knowing it's just x squared. And then I pull down my last, which is positive 10. So I have x squared, space, and then positive 10. What goes in the middle are my factors. Instead of writing 7x, I'm writing, actually we want to keep whatever term that is. So it's going to be 2x plus 5x. All I'm doing is moving these 2 terms to the middle. So I have 2x plus 5x. So far, so good? Okay, so once I have 4 terms, one of my classes said this is like Star Trek. I don't watch Star Trek, so I don't know. But you guys seen this before, right? I thought it was a gang sign. Apparently it's not. Okay? When you have 4 terms, you gotta split them up. Right down the middle. Split, split, split. Whenever I have 4 terms, I split. Now I'm going to break it down between left side and right side. On the left side, what's my GCF? I have x squared and 2x. What do they have in common? Just an x. So my GCF is x. I do not. Is your schedule out? Yeah. What does it say she's supposed to do? Alright, so my GCF is x. After you write your GCF, bring it down to the left. We're basically going to just divide. So if I divide, I'm breaking this up into 2 pieces. What's x squared divided by x? Just plain x. 2x divided by x plus 2. So I brought my GCF to the outside, and then I divided x squared plus 2x. On the other side, what's my GCF of 5x plus 10? They both have what in common? 5. So my GCF is 5. Once you write your GCF, bring it on the outside. What is 5x divided by 5? X. What is 10 divided by 5? 2. Once we get here, we need to check. Look at my parentheses. Are they matching? If your parentheses are matching, you know you've done it right. You're on the right track. If you have divided wrong and they're opposite, and that tells you to go up a step to fix it. So from here, my matching parentheses become a factor, and my GCFs become a factor. So x and 5 become a factor. And that's your answer. That's how we factor by grouping. Yes, there is an easier way, but of course I'm not going to teach you. We'll get it next class. An easier way for some of these. Any questions on number 1? Those are the steps we're doing all day. All right, number 2. I have 3 terms. So I put an A over the middle, an M over the second one. I make a T-chart off to the side. A, M, and A. Normally I'm going to swing whatever is in front of this x squared, but I know it's just going to be a 1, right? So it's 1 times negative 6. Negative 6. That's what's being multiplied. Which numbers are being added? I need it to be added to be what? What's under that A? Just add to what number is there that we can't see. Just 1. Men. Hey, Jerry. Alright, so I need 2 numbers that multiply, that give me negative 6, and add to give me 1. I'm going to go through my factors. I always start with 1 and 6. Something needs a negative, so I just flip them. If I add those 2 together, will I ever get positive 1? No. So we can mark through those factors. What else can I multiply to give me negative 6? Huh? About 2 and 3, right? 2 and 3, both of them will get the negative, right? Because both of those will give me negative 6. Which one of these, if I add them, gives me positive 1? Is it negative 2 plus positive 3 or 2 plus negative 3? Negative 2 plus 3. If I add those together, it gives me positive 1. So these are my factors. Are you guys understanding this part over here? Okay. Alright, once you have your factors, we pull down our first, so that is x squared. We pull down our last. Make sure you give yourself some space. So x squared, space, and then our last is negative 6. Don't forget the negative. EJ, what goes in the middle? What are my factors here? Negative 2x, because I have to keep whatever variable that is.
Plus 3x.
Plus so positive 3x. So we have negative 2x and then positive 3x. It does not matter if you flip-flop those. If you put positive 3x first and then negative 2x second, that is fine. It's not going to change your answer, just change your GCS for a moment, but it all comes back together. Alright, when I have 4 terms, what do? Split it, Star Trek it. So I go down the middle and I split. Let's look at my left side first. I have x squared minus 2x. What's my GCF? X is correct. So I pull that down. If I divide, what's x squared divided by x? X. And what is negative 2x divided by x? Negative 2. Don't forget that is a negative 2x, not just positive. On the right side, 3x minus 6, what's my GCF? 3. So I pull my 3 down. What do I have left over if I divide? I have x minus, what's negative 6 divided by 3? Negative 2. Do I have matching parentheses? Yes, so we've done it right so far. My matching parentheses become a factor. What else becomes a factor?
3.
Both of your GCFs, right? So that is x and then positive 3. Okay, any questions? All right. Okay. Number 3. It says, now let's try to start with leading coefficients that are not 1. So the first 2 we did, the number in front of our x squared was just 1. Okay? In this case, it's not just 1, it is 5. So I know I have 3 terms. I automatically put my AM off to the side. My t-shirt is MA. 2 numbers that add and multiply, multiply, add. We've been swinging whatever's in front of our x squared. So what is 5 times 4? So I need 2 numbers that multiply to give me 20. Do we understand where the 20 came from? Okay. And I need 2 numbers that add to give me what? 12. Alright, can I skip over 1 and 20? I'm not even going to write those factors down because if I add them, I'll never get 12. So let's do 4 and 5. Does that work? Nope. 10 and 2. If I multiply 10 and 2, I get 20. If I add, I get 12. Those are my factors. Normally I go down the line, 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5, but as long as you get there. Alright, I have my factors. So I pull down my first, which is 5x squared. I pull down my last, which is positive 4. Jocelyn, what goes in the middle? Positive 10x plus 2x. Perfect. Once again, sometimes like that 2 could come first. So you could have 2x plus 10x. This way is a little bit easier. I see my factors better, but either way you get the same answer. Whether you put the 2 first or the 10 first. When I have 4 terms, Anthony, what do I do? When I have 4 terms, now what do I do? Yep, I split them. My GCF on the left side is going to be what? Just 5? 5x. They each have an x. So I pull my GCF down and then I divide. What's 5x squared divided by 5x? Huh? Just x. Just have one x left over. 10x divided by 5x?
2.
Plus 2. On the other side, I have 2x and 4. What's my GCF? 2. Bring your GCF down. And then I have what's left over. X plus 2 if I divide. Do I have matching parentheses? Yep. So I know I've done it right so far. My matching parentheses become a factor. My GCFs become a factor. 5x plus 2. For problems with a number bigger than 1 in front of x squared, this is how you do it every time. There is no shortcut. The shortcut is only when the number is 1. So we'll get there next class. Alright, number 2, I want you guys to try it on your own, but we'll get started together. I have 3 terms, so I'll do my AM method. Off to the side, it is MA. AM, MA. I need 2 numbers that multiply to give me what? 42. And add together, we get a swing, and add to give me what? 17. What I want you guys to do really quick, go to your calculators. Sometimes you guys may understand how to do this, but your hardest thing is finding the factors. If that is the case, go to your y equals. We did this a little bit the first day, but it's been a while. We're going to take whatever we need to multiply, which in this case is 42. You're going to hit divided by x. 42 divided by x. Hit second graph to bring up your table. These are all my factors of 42. We need to look for ones that add to give us positive 17. So some of these I know won't work. 6 and 7, no. 14 and 3 looks like it works, but I need the positives, right? Because that's 3 times, so that would give me positive 42, but adds to give me negative 17. So just by looking at that, I know my factors will be 3 and 14. You can still do it the other way that we did it, like 1 and 42, 2 and 21, 3 and 14. You just be dividing. Alright, so from here I want you guys to finish it. Alright, so my factors are 3 and 14. We all understand this part, right? Alright, what do I do from here? Pull down my first, 6x squared, pull down my last, which is plus 7. Alright, now what? That goes in the middle, so 3x plus 14x. Alright, well then what? Split it down the middle. Alright, GCF of the left side is going to be what? 3x. Pull my 3x down. Now let's divide. 6x squared divided by 3x is Be careful. 2x. Okay, sometimes you think 6x divided by 3 is 3, but it's not. It's 2x. And then we have positive 3x divided by 3x. Anything divided by itself is just not x, but x's are gone. 1. If I have 5 divided by 5, that gives me just 1. So anything divided by itself is 1. On the left or the right side, my GCF is 7. So let's divide. 14x divided by 7 is 2x, and then 7 divided by 7. Do I have matching parentheses? Yep, we're on the right track. My matching parentheses become a factor. My GCFs become a factor. Okay, any questions on this one? All right, 5 and 6. What we should be doing each time is looking for a GCF. I've been skipping over that step because none of these so far have had a GCF. But just keep that in mind, so look for that first. All right, I have 3 terms, so I use my AM method. AM, and I need 2 things that multiply and add. Sometimes I write MA, but sometimes I put the symbols. Either way is fine, whatever works for you. So I need 2 numbers that multiply to give me what? 60. Be able to swing that 3 and add to give me negative 17. Off this board. Alright, if I were you, I would use my calculator. These numbers are kind of big. We'll figure out y equals 2 numbers that multiply to give me 60. So 60 divided by x in second graph. So 60, so I need to add to give me negative 17. What about negative 5, negative 12? You guys see that? It adds to give me negative 17. So my factors are negative 5, negative 12. Once I have my factors, I pull down my first. So we have 3a squared. I pull down my last, which is positive 20. Alright, in this case, I'm going to write my negative 12 first, just because it goes better with my 3. You guys see that? Alright, so instead of x, I'm going to write a. That's our middle term. So negative 12a minus 5a. I just plug them both in. If you wanted to put the 5a first, that is perfectly fine. I have 4 terms, so I split. Likewise, my GCF of the left side is going to be what? 3a. So we have 3a. And when I divide it, 3a squared divided by 3a is a. Negative 12a divided by 3a is, my a's cancel out, so I just have negative 4. Because negative 12 divided by 3 is negative 4. Alright, on the other side, I have negative 5a plus 20. What's my GCF? Oh, 5. So if we pull that down, what's negative 5a divided by 5? A, and what's 20 divided by 5? Plus 4, right? Do I have matching parentheses? No, so let's go back up, something's wrong. Okay, remember when we said if you start with a negative, you always bring that negative out? Okay, in this case, we're splitting it, so this is like left side and then right side. My right side starts with a negative, right? You guys see the -5? So bring that negative down. So my GCF should be -5. And so now we have -5a divided by -5, which is a. And then 20 divided by -5 gives us -4. So now I have matching parentheses.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So this is why I messed up the last problem. Why don't we bring down the A for this one?
Because the 20 doesn't have an A. It has to be the GCF. Okay, so if it was the GCF of -5a and 20, if it was 20a, then yeah, you would have an A. Alright, so I have matching parentheses, which is a minus 4. What's my other parentheses going to be? 3a's minus 5. Alright, I want you to do the last 3 by yourself, but let's at least look at 6 is fairly easy. Look at number 7 and 8. EJ, look up on 7 and 8 before you get started. Well, let's do 7, and then you guys can do 6 and 8 on your own. So skip down to number 7. These numbers are kind of high, okay? If I have to add and multiply, I'm going to get two numbers that multiply to give me -150, okay? So before you write that down, do I have a GCF here? -5 is my GCF, so let's take out the GCF first. It still works if you don't, but it's much easier. So back to the first guy, I took out the -5. So let's divide. -5x squared divided by -5 gives me x squared, +5x, -6. And just divide it all the way through. What I want you to do, we still have 3 terms. My middle term is A, my last term is N. I want you to circle this GCF of -5. I'm going to act like it doesn't even appear right now. We don't even need it right now. I'm only looking at my x squared plus 5x minus 6. So now I need two numbers that multiply to give me what? -6 and add to give me 5. Alright, so I know I have 6 and 1, 1 and 6, both have negatives. And then we have 2 and 3, 3 and 2, both have negatives. Which one of these adds to give me +5? Well, if I add the first one, I get -5. -1 plus 6 gives me +5. That works. -2 plus 3 is 1, and then -1. So my answer is which one? -1, +6. Once I get here, I pull down my first, which is x squared. I pull down my last, which is -6. And then I fill in what's inside. So -1x plus 6x. I have my 4 terms, so I split them. My GCF of the left side is going to be just x. So I bring down my x, and I divide. X squared divided by x is x. -1x divided by x is -1. 6x divided by, 6x and 6, -6, my GCF is higher than that. They both have 6's, right? So my GCF is 6. If I divide, I have x minus 1. Do I have matching parentheses? Yes. X minus 1. My GCFs become parentheses, so x plus 6. Oh, we can't forget about my negative 5. Okay? We're bringing this down because we had to factor it out first. So we just bring that negative 5 down, and that's our answer. We're able to work with smaller numbers, and our GCF comes down. Any questions? All right, you guys do 6 and 8. You guys can check your answers with mine. You work on number 8 if you need to. Number 6, would you? Make sure you have this answer. All right, last one I'm going to put up is number 8.
On this interruption, teachers, please release any students participating in the George Mason University Offensive Field Trip now. Students are meeting at the front door near the main office. Thank you.
You guys take out a GCF first. So we did number 7. So pull out 3y. I have y squared minus 7y plus 6 left over. If you did not, your numbers are just bigger, no big deal. Multiply, add. So I'm going to circle this so I can just wait on it. 6, negative 7. Both negative, right? Alright, so we have, write down our first, write down our last. Negative 6y minus 1y. Split it in half. GCF is y. So I have y minus 6 left over. On the right side, my GCF is negative 1. So I have y minus 6 left over. I have matching parentheses, so I've done it right so far. Don't forget your 3y. Your GCF comes down. That should be your answer for number 8.